Okay. Sorry. This is Live from the Table, a Comedy Cellar affiliated podcast coming at you on Sirius XM 99 Raw Dog and the Laugh Button Podcast Network. Dan Naturman here, along with Noam Dworman, owner of the world-famous and ever-expanding Comedy Cellar. Periel Aschenbrand is here. She is the producer.
Hello.
Although others might quarrel with that designation. We have Nicole Lyons behind the scenes doing our sound. Nicole,
and that's all. That's all agreed upon, right? Nobody questions Nicole. It's just Periel that we question.
well, Nicole clearly is the sound person, and she does the video. So she's very shy. But how do you do, Nicole?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All right, that's as much excitement.
Total unanimity
for
on
her.
Nicole.
That's very excited. And we have with us Matt Friend.
Hello.
Well, if you haven't heard of Matt Friend, I think you probably will at some point. He's a comedian. He's an impressionist. He's been on the Howard Stern Show, the Today Show, the Jimmy Kimmel Live Show, many others. He does 250 impressions ranging from Rami Malek to Timothee Chalamet. I don't know what he sounds like. And his favorite impression at the moment is Jennifer Coolidge, I suppose, according to what I've read in his bio that Periel sent me. And he is sort of he sometimes breaks into impressions for no reason.
Like a tick.
A tick, so just bear that in mind. How do you do, Matthew?
I am thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me. Great to be with you guys. Excited to be here.
Who's that?
I have no idea, actually.
I think that's him.
People think I actually have a bit about this I'm working on it. People think I'm always telling a joke or doing a voice or a bit, and I'm just this.
Yeah,
is what
because
I
your
sound
voice is already halfway to
like.
Howard Stern
It's
anyway.
resting broadcaster voice. I can't help it. It's a serious problem. Yeah.
Yes, and Matt is you had just mentioned to me the name Matt Friend just 2 weeks ago, Noam. You said Matt.
Yeah, we were going through the. Well, I don't know how much detail to give on this. I was annoyed that Tyler Fisher was doing very, very well at all the clubs, and I was annoyed that we didn't know about him. At a time when he probably should have been working here. So I was trying to figure out what's going wrong in my organization, that we're not on top of knowing who's working in town. And I said, you think the Yankees don't know who's great in the minor leagues? They always know who's great in the minor. They know who they are in high school, right? So I started going through the lineups of some other clubs, and I started putting it to the table, like, what about this person? What about that person? And I said, who's this Matt Friend guy? It turns out I knew who Matt Friend was, but I didn't realize. Who's this Matt Friend guy? But this is interesting. They're like, he's an impressionist. I'm like, what's wrong with an impressionist? But impressionists don't get much respect. And Naturman spoke up for you. Naturman
What
said,
did I
no.
say? I forgot. I think I said he's an extremely good impressionist. I truthfully said I've never seen him do stand-up.
But do you remember this conversation?
Yeah, of course I do. I'm the one who brought it up.
I said, you fucking snobs. Who cares? People love impressionists.
Yeah.
But what's your feeling about that? Impressionists don't get respect.
Well, first of all, I started out.
I sound a little like Johnny Carson, but go ahead.
Well, it's very good to be here. Thank you very much. On the program was your dear friend of mine, Mr. Dan Naturman. Okay, I have Tourette's.
That's not his best impression.
Okay, stop it. No, it's very interesting. I started out doing impressions when I was like a little kid, and I grew up like Austin Powers.
How old?
I was 4 years old, and I watched Austin Powers, and that's what got me obsessed with comedy. And then I started doing that and the Mike Myers characters, and then it evolved to when I started doing stand-up, especially throughout the past year and a half, where an act is built and it's not just the voices. So now it's a lot of crowd work and then a lot of just things unrelated to the voices, but they're definitely inevitably a part of the act. And it's not just the voices now, though. I'm kind of analyzing things, whether it's politics or whatever. But
why don't the other comedians respect impressionists?
As another comedian, I could address.
Well, I think
no, you're not the guest.
No, I think maybe sometimes comedians will. Sometimes it can be hacky, maybe an impression like the way you said it. Like, oh, this is Robert De Niro on an airplane or something.
I love Robert De Niro on an airplane.
No, but I think maybe sometimes comedians were in an age where you're expected to talk more and more about yourself. Audiences want to know who the real person is.
No, stop there. No, comedians, you're right.
Maybe they're jealous. Fuck it. They don't have the talent. They're jealous fucks.
The first part of your sentence was correct. The comedians expect you to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Audiences don't expect
They don't care.
that.
I agree.
Audiences just want to be entertained.
The thing is also...
And comedians intimidate.
Maybe.
I reject the premise that comedians are snobs about impressionists. However, and
Wasn't there a thing that like people hated? People were mad at Jimmy Fallon when he was starting because like he was doing these impressions and comedians were like jealous or whatever. I don't know. I read.
I
that.
don't know. He was doing impressions of other comedians.
I do
which
that too, yeah.
Might have.
No, but I don't know. I mean, it is interesting. I don't know. I don't know why they. Why
well,
they wouldn't
first of
like
all, I'm not so sure.
Fuck them.
I'm
I'm
not
having a good time out here.
I'm not so sure the comedians are snobs about it. However, it's not enough to do impressions.
Yeah, that's right. It's not.
You have to do
Not enough
more
for what?
to kill. I've seen people just go on stage and just do impressions, but if there's no context to it,
Yeah.
you know,
you have
you
to
can just say,
do
here's, as he said,
scenarios.
just say, here's De Niro on an airplane. Well, you know, that'll only get you so far.
It's funnier if you can like analyze things as the person.
I
or
think
whatever,
if you
but-
you do a joke about Trump and then you bring in the Trump impression, for example.
But yeah, the Trump one. But some of them
like I did a joke about Chris Rock,
yeah.
what he should have done when he got smacked by
Will Smith.
Will Smith. And I did a very poor impression of Chris Rock. I thought it would have been great as if he just knocked Will Smith out and said, "Now where was I?"
Yeah.
But it would have been a lot more effective if I had a good impression
The thing is, for me too, though.
of Chris Rock.
You should write for him.
I mean, for me too. Like I look at like Rich Little, like when he was young. You know, Rich Little. Like yeah.
He
And then
hasn't dated well.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then what I try to do is, the work I'm doing is work, if you want to call it that sound. So the work I'm doing, I go for vocal and physical accuracy, and then I try to add like my own comedic spin on it. Like I'm very inspired by Carvey and Phil Hartman and guys like that, Bill Hader. So it's vocal, physical mixed with my own comedy in there. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, now why do you now? I wouldn't say it's jealousy.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But
That's-
again, I don't know that the premise
That's
is correct.
I don't know what it is.
That's the reverse. I think they just don't respect. They don't respect guitar acts. They don't respect impressionists. They don't respect prop acts. Frankie Pace, who was this brilliant prop act years ago, who was the first comedian on SNL. You know, I mean, nobody killed harder than Frankie Pace. The comedians just hated him.
That's interesting.
But, you know, back in the day, the comedians, I've told a story before. I went to see Eddie Murphy's movie Raw at the time when it came out. It was like 88 or something.
Yeah.
And I remember I came to the comedian. I think it was Alan Havey was at the bar and some other comedians. And I'm like, I just saw Raw. It was so great. And they're like, oh, that's awful. Like Eddie Murphy, he's derivative. He's not funny. Like
Jim Carrey too. Like when he was starting out doing those impressions.
Well,
of, he would do like Sammy Davis Jr. At like in L.A., like the Comedy Store, or whatever. Wouldn't he do that? He would do a whole act like that. His whole Carson
I
set was
don't-
impressions. His
But,
first one.
but just to make my point. So like it's very time and place. So all the comedians at that time thought Eddie Murphy was just. I was embarrassed.
yeah.
I never shared it again that I thought this movie was so great. But now another generation has come up, and this is one of the classic movies in their, influences in their wanting to be comedians.
Yeah.
So obviously the comedians in those days were just wrong,
Right.
but it's very powerful when all the comedians feel some way.
But I would
and they're
just
assholes. Yeah.
But once again, I'm not hearing what you're describing. I'm not hearing, first of all, Daryl Hammond, who's a largely impression-based comedian. I never heard a bad word said about him around here. I mean, who else does impression? Well, maybe you did, but I'm not hearing that.
Is there
You're
something
just-
I
I'm
need
not
to
hear-
know? I haven't been
I'm
given
not-
all this negative feedback
not
yet.
Maybe it's just Matt.
I'm not hearing Melissa
It's
Villaseñor.
just me, apparently.
Melissa Villaseñor is also impression heavy. I never heard anyone say a bad word about her. I mean, I
boy.
think if you're an unfunny impressionist,
Yeah.
maybe then they would
Well,
insult
go
you.
on and be funny then. That's what you have to do. Just be funny.
Yeah, I just
think.
don't. I'm not like you're describing this snobbishness that I'm not hearing.
Well, I've heard it. You're right that Daryl Hammond gets respect. Now, Daryl's a more complex performer. Yeah, but you're right. He does impressions, but you're right. It's not a hard and fast rule, but you have to win people over.
But
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah,
impressions
he's-
can be hacky, and if you're a great impressionist, it's certainly a valuable skill. But if you have to bring more to it,
I agree.
You know,
I agree. I mean,
yeah.
unless that's all you want to do, like as a voice actor or something. But I think as a comedian, like building out a set, it's a whole other thing. Like talking to a crowd as yourself. I think it just adds a whole other layer, and that's what I'm doing right now.
and so now you mentioned Matt as a possible person to work here. Have you investigated that? Have you looked at his? You have not. Okay.
Not yet. I have. I've asked people to do that. So now at 4 years old, you were able to do. Were you musical? Were you a musical child?
I loved music. I'm playing guitar now a bit. Yeah. But I wasn't like doing lessons or anything as a kid.
Were you able to just like sing in tune?
Yeah, for sure.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And so how come you never played music?
I don't know. I just never really did. It's weird.
You think
I wish I
you
did.
think the talents are related?
I think so. Yeah.
But as I said last time, I think on the last episode, I think some people just they pick up that guitar, they sit down at that piano, and it's just clicks, and they keep at it.
Yeah, that's how I am kind of with voices.
I don't think I was an untalented. I took piano lessons. I don't think I was I was no prodigy, but I don't think I was untalented. I think with
Right.
enough hours, I could have become a pretty respectable player. It just didn't click. The desire, the love, the passion. Now, Noam will say, well, if you were better at it, you'd have had more passion, and that's probably
No, I wouldn't say that.
that's
actually.
probably partially true. But it's also true that some people
That was a
just,
lousy impression of me, by the way.
well, it
Yeah.
wasn't an impression.
What was
It
that?
But I think some people just you picked up that guitar and you never put it down.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just because you were good at it. I think there's more to it than that. I think some people just have a love and a passion for it. I think it's probably you're born with it, but I don't know what it is. They say Hendrix used to sit on the toilet bowl and play guitar whilst he was on the toilet because he didn't want to be away from his guitar. Steve Vai used to have it by his bed. People that have that kind of love for it.
You have a notebook by your bed?
I don't know, but I don't write shit down. I don't write my jokes down, but
What do you do then?
they're in my head.
All right, good for you. That's impressive, honestly.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that famous Seinfeld episode where he wakes up and writes the thing and he can't read it the next day.
anything I come up with while I'm half asleep, unlike Paul McCartney who wrote yesterday while asleep,
Purported.
anything I
Yeah,
come up,
exactly.
anything I come up with asleep doesn't work.
All right.
For some reason, I guess when I'm asleep, I think it's good, and then I wake up, and
So,
then
so anyway, at 4 years old, you're able to do Austin Powers, and then
Yeah.
quickly, how long was that your only impression, or did you quickly start adding to it?
I was doing like Dr. Evil, and then I would do my parents' friends, and then my grandparents, and then my uncle, and then teachers, and it just kind of gradually increased. And then I just started watching movies and shows, and then kind of just started happening.
Now, what year were you born?
98.
So this is early 2000s.
Yeah.
So at that age, YouTube started around 2005.
Yeah, so I grew up with YouTube.
Right. So at that age, it was already that somebody could have seen this young, precocious impressionist and put him on YouTube and got attention for him. Did that happen to you?
I wasn't like on Ellen as like a 7-year-old. No. So no, I was starting to do like sketches and stuff, then uploading it a little bit on YouTube. Yeah.
But
By the
what
way,
happened? Did your
still
parents?
freezing in here, by the way. If we
Yeah,
can
it's
get a little
cold.
Dan.
Well, I'm just saying it's freezing, and I'd like to rectify.
But can't be rectified.
Yeah. Wait, go ahead. Yeah.
Did your parents look at you at some point and were like, "Holy shit, this kid! Like, this isn't just like this like cute, funny thing, but he's like actually wildly talented, and we need to do something about
his,
it."
his parents don't respect impressions.
No, my dad they're the comedians you were talking about. They're just in the
Wildly talented. My son's a hack.
Yeah, they tell me I'm worthless and a sack of shit.
They're like, "Go do real stand up."
Yeah. No, they're very supportive. Yeah, and they're lucky to have that like upbringing. I'm just very.
No, but I'm talking about like when.
Did they
you're
see it when I
little.
was like a kid? Like say you got to go do this? Not necessarily. No, not like I was a kid like pushing me into. It kind of happened organically. Like, I went to school in New York, to college out here, and I just started kind of figuring out and doing it.
Where'd you go to college?
NYU.
NYU.
So you were just having like a lot of fun doing it all growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it in terms of like. I mean, I always had an idea that it might be something I wanted to do, but then it got very like in college. I would say I really started to begin thinking about this as a career, and then the pandemic hit, and that's when things started to get a little crazy on social media.
Can you do me? Because
Can
a
you
lot
do?
of
Yeah, I know. I was just hearing
lot
you
of
guys in my
comedians
head,
do
and I think
me,
I can
yeah.
do you guys. I'm working on you
Don't
you
guys.
can do
me.
Noam.
No, I think I can.
No,
I'm not interested in that.
I don't. It's. I don't care. The problem is it's in my head. So whether you're interested or not, it's gonna happen. Whether it's just gonna happen.
Noam is. I never thought of
Don't
Noam.
make it Jewy.
I never thought of Noam as having a voice. That
We all know
is-
I'm gonna make it a hacky Jewy impression that all the comedians will hate. That's what I'm gonna do.
But do Natterman.
Keep talking. Go ahead. What am I, a fucking
Well, okay, here's the question.
stripper here? You're gonna
So-
throw signals
so,
at me?
I mean, we do want to get you
Yeah,
to some
go ahead,
impressions.
please.
People are
Yeah.
probably listening and say,
Yeah,
well,
they're like,
those are
what's he
impressions.
gonna do?
But
Yeah.
before we do that,
Yeah.
so
let's get hacky here.
how
Everybody
hard
hate
is
me.
it? So, like, I think about musical. Like, some people, like, they have perfect pitch. They instantly
Yeah.
be able to play something. Some people have to work on it, figure it out. But in the end, the performance could be better than the person with perfect pitch. But how easy is it for you to do an impression? I'll just add one thing. We had Daryl Hammond on years ago, and he talked about really working hard to get a new voice, like recording it, trying it again and again. I think he described many weeks or months to get a voice down, whereas somebody like Godfrey, literally, you could just ask him, do somebody, and he could have never done it before, and he'll just access it in his brain and come out with a top 5% impression of that person. He's remarkable.
Yeah.
So which are you?
Well, it's funny you mentioned, by the way, Daryl Hammond, I was just on stage with him last week. We did like a dueling Trump thing. I'd never met him before. It was really fun. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
I think usually I can get them pretty quickly, and I'm very up to date with what's happening, like pop culture, politics, and actors and stuff like that. So, but sometimes it can take like a day, sometimes a couple of weeks.
But there's another aspect to it, right? Just occurred with Daryl Hammond, is that it's also a matter of focusing on some aspect of that person which somehow can be funny.
Yes.
And exaggerating it
Exactly.
into a caricature.
Exactly.
I think that's what makes Daryl kind of brilliant.
Yeah, like we were talking about Rich Little earlier. He would just do like the exact carbon copy of the voice. He wouldn't really add much to it. And then guys like Carvey and Hammond would like add some version of it that made it really like when I do Mitch McConnell, I have a. Go
ahead. How you doing, Mitch?
Yeah, I'll put these on.
Why are you guys kicking Ilhan Omar out of the?
I do this. Well, listen, yes. It is great to be here right now with the Comedy Cellar. And what I say is, scoobity boop boop. Scoobity doo, yes. It is great to be here, yes. He doesn't say scoobity boop boop, scoobity doo, but it's a noise.
Well, it's like when Carvey used to say not gone down.
Exactly, yes. That's right.
I don't think that George Bush ever said not gonna.
And then I love doing impressions where everybody tries to do it, and then I skewer them in the voice, like, everybody tries to do this, okay? Noam knows it, right? And they fail like dogs. They just can't do it. A lot of people try to speak like me, but they fail, okay? A lot of comedians come in, they do their own version. And frankly, it's disgusting what they do. I'm very offended by it. And you're not smiling. Excuse me. Look at him laughing like a dog, right? They're an intimidating crowd. He's like Simon Cowell. He has a lot of the power. He can say, next comedian, you're fired. You're not going to Hollywood. But he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing, right? That's good. Excuse me. Look at it. I walk into the studio. They say, how does it feel being a hacky piece of shit? Comedians don't respect you. I say to them, go fuck yourself. That's what I say to those comedians, right? That's good.
The side eye just said was very
Thank you very much. And then I'm working on the future. Like I have Ron DeSantis down. Do you even know what he sounds like?
Not really.
The governor of Florida, he's over here in the back of the throat. So when he runs for president, I'm good for the next 4 to 8 years, whatever happens. Just copies Trump exactly, physically and vocally. It's frightening, actually. Some way ahead of, I don't know. I'm listening to shit. Like Austin Butler, I did. He just won the Globe for Elvis.
Well, how important is it for you to do an impression that other people don't do? Because Trump, obviously, a lot of people do.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I just want to sound like the person and hopefully
you think
do the
some
best at it.
people are so overdone that it's like, you know what, I can do them well, but it's just that impression is in and of itself too overdone. I'm not going to go there. Like,
well,
I mean, maybe Walken might be in that category.
Well, there are some that I call airplane food impressions where it's like being a stand-up comedian talking about airplane food, like Christopher Walken and De Niro. Yeah, like those it's
like my favorite. Can you?
I got to work on that.
Oh,
one.
come on.
I know.
The best.
You're talking about Kirk?
I know.
William Shatner.
No, but no, I mean, I think if I can, I don't see a problem with it if I can be very vocally perfect. Like, why not?
Or if you can do it in a joke
in a newer way.
In a newer way.
Because it is so overdone. Yeah.
By the way,
but a lot of the ones I'm doing are no one's really doing.
I noticed this about Trump years ago.
What'd you notice? Tell me what you noticed.
I woke up.
Let's see what he noticed. He's still talking like a dog. Go ahead.
I woke up with the TV playing in the background. I was kind of half asleep, and Trump was talking.
Yeah.
And for some reason it hit me. The people were going to get mad. People got mad when I said this years ago. It was before he was even fully exposed as Trump. He has a very to get it out. He has like a beautiful vocal quality.
He really does.
No. There's something raspy. Like if he were a singer, you would think, oh yeah, I expect you to have that. Like he has kind of the quality of his voice. If you could separate it from the horrible things he says, he has the quality of a voice. You could imagine having a very pretty singing voice. Am I wrong?
You know, that's so interesting. Because remember when Obama sang Amazing Grace? Now I kind of want to do Trump singing Amazing Grace. That's just so fascinating, actually.
And Obama sang Marvin
Gaye.
Now that was a fun moment. He comes out, he's like, Amazing Amazing Grace. Now that was fun. I love the Comedy Cellar, everybody. Come on now. Now that is good.
What's
Thank you
the
so much.
interesting thing about that, Noam, is that Trump is the last person in the world I would ever think
He
would
could do it.
would sing. He just seems
What would
like a
he
very
sing? What would he sing?
He seems like a guy that just doesn't sing.
Well, I happen to know what he would sing.
Yeah, what would he say? Go
And
ahead.
this is true because just by coincidence, I ran into Michael Cohen in a restaurant. What?
He was just talking about my impression on a podcast the other day.
Michael Cohen was?
He was like, all the people do Mr. Trump. There's one kid who's fucking amazing at it. And I was like fucking dying. It was hilarious.
And he says that Trump loves Neil Young. And he dragged everybody in his staff to see Neil Young. And he, was
Old
like,
man, look at my life.
and he was singing Hard or Cold.
24, and there's like so much more, right? There's a lot more.
That is hilarious.
Can you imagine Trump in love with
Trump
Neil
and
Young?
Neil.
Of all the acts for Trump to
It's the
be
weirdest.
in love with.
That's
he
weird.
loves Neil Young. Who would you expect? I expected him to be like a Sinatra guy.
I mean, a little. Yeah, there's a very great
I would
story.
probably expect Sinatra.
Trump detailed how Sinatra, I think maybe it was Carson, like was such a drunk. I think he had like some argument with him years ago. It'd be great if Kanye, maybe that would make sense these days. He might support him.
Because it's anti-Semite?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Kanye supported him, went to the Oval Office with the red hat. You never know.
All right, what else, Dan?
Yeah, go ahead. It's a
Uh,
great show here. Having fun.
You do Howard Stern. I think
Well,
when
he's
I met you,
he's
when I met you,
famous
you were
for
doing
Howard.
Howard Stern.
I do.
He's, by the way, we have just watching us off mic is this guy named Barrett Letty, who's a friend of Matt, and
Yes.
I first met them on Clubhouse. Remember Clubhouse, that social media that was sort of
Shooting
hot
star.
during the pandemic, and they were doing a Robin Quivers and Howard Stern thing together.
Yeah.
So that's how I. And
Let's
then
hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, if Barrett wants to, I mean, Barrett's just. I don't know if Barrett
on.
wants to.
Yeah,
do a
take
little
the
Howard
mic. We do a
Stern.
little bit of this, right? This is going to be great. So I'm doing the Comedy Cellar podcast. Now, Robin, how are you doing?
Oh, hi, Howard.
So let me ask you a question, right? Who do you have to fuck to get on stage at this fucking comedy club? It's fucking driving me crazy. Like, what do you have to do? It's fucking crazy, right? Tell me.
I don't know if you have to fuck
Right.
anyone, Howard.
You don't think so? So you don't think I have to fuck Noam to make this happen? Tell me, Robin. Give me a laugh right now. Tell me. Now, Robin, let me ask you something, right? Do you think that I've been? First of all, are you masturbating?
Oh, absolutely.
Babysitter
Aren't
porn, right?
you?
Noam likes babysitter porn, doesn't he? Look at him laughing, right? Now, do you think he's a little intimidating, or is it just me?
Oh, he is.
Right? You think so?
I
Brother.
think so.
Hey now. Now, Robin.
now.
Now, give me one. Hey-oh. Hey now. He can't do it, Robin. Come on. Robin, one last question. What do you think about the Bruce Springsteen interview? You like that?
I thought it was wonderful. I think everything you do is wonderful. That's
Robin
my
Quivers,
job.
everybody. We love you.
Very
That
good.
was
Amazing,
Barrett Letty.
He's unbelievable.
He's a voiceover artist.
He's
Barrett.
amazing.
Not a comic.
I
but-
love Barrett. That was so fucking good. I love Barrett.
Yeah,
It's
when-
so wild seeing him. Oh, my God.
Didn't you also do something with on Letterman, or was it Letterman with Letterman?
Yeah, I was walking down the street. I've been basically meeting a lot of the people I do impressions of.
You do Letterman?
Yeah, you
No, I was walking down the street last week and I ran in and David Letterman was on the sidewalk just walking in like Soho.
Oh, I
And
think I saw you
Yeah, I
posted
saw
that.
that.
I
on,
went up to him and like we talked for a few minutes and I told him I'd do a Howard impression. I don't do him unfortunately. And I did it and we did a little video.
I
was like,
remember.
I said, "What's with the beard? It's just fucking it's disgusting." and then I posted a video and then the next morning Howard's on the air and he goes, "I get a text last night, the weirdest thing, from David Letterman that he ran into Matt Friend." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Matt?" Oh, that's the guy who does the impression of me. Like Howard's pretending he doesn't know. It was amazing. It was surreal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I met Andy
I like
Co-
the self-protective. Howard's pretending he doesn't know.
Well, I've been on so frequent. I talked to him on the air for like 20 minutes, like 4 days before that happened.
Believe me, you could. I mean, not
He might.
forgettable. Just like when you get
Well,
older
what
and
is-
you meet
now-
so
Yeah,
many
that's
people.
true.
Is your so we had a discussion I think 2 weeks ago. I think you asked me. Somebody said, "Well, how come
Yeah.
so and so didn't get on SNL? There's great impressionists." And I made the point, well, SNL only hires, first of all, SNL doesn't only hire impressionists. And then when they do, they might be looking for a woman. They might be looking for a Latino or a Latina.
No, it wasn't me who said that person should have gotten on SNL, but there was a
It
conversation.
was Rich.
But-
It was Rich.
Aronovich?
Yeah, wasn't that the conversation we had with Rich?
About, we might have been, I don't remember. But anyway, But of course, a lot of people. Daryl Hammond. It was always his dream to be on SNL. Is that your number
Daryl
one?
Hammond
dream?
was.
I know, and it was his dream.
Wait, are you saying Rich Aronovich?
And he pulled it off.
Oh, yeah.
Aronovich was no. He was asking about somebody else. Why? Somebody else. I think Kyle Dunnigan. He said,
Okay.
"Why didn't Kyle Dunnigan? Because he does great impressions
amazing.
too." I said, "Why didn't he get an SNL?" I said, "Well, because SNL again, they don't only hire impressionists, and they can only hire a few people a
But
season."
Kyle's not just an impressionist.
Look,
Kyle,
a lot-
Kyle would have been perfect for us.
He would have been, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he would have been. I mean, but they can't hire everybody that would be. So would have Godfrey.
Especially now, they
So
can't-
would Godfrey
he's-
have been
can't hire white
perfect?
males. What,
So not everybody can get SNL, even those people that would be perfect for it.
that's what
Elon Gold would have been good on it too.
Tyler says.
So Matthew, what about you in SNL? What do you? Is that your number one goal? A goal? You don't give a shit?
I mean, I would say as a kid, it was always a big goal of mine, and like my old YouTube channel was called Matterday Night Live, like years ago, not years ago, like further, like a couple years ago. But now, I mean, I'm just kind of doing my thing. Like if things happen, it happens. I can't be married to something if I have zero control over it. So now I'm just performing and making things happen and doing voiceover, and if it happens, it happens. I would love it. If
I mean,
it
there's so
happened.
many
It'd be
other
amazing.
avenues, especially nowadays, especially with social media. I think somebody like you are doing well on social media, but a guy like you could really, I think,
No,
explore social
I mean,
media.
thank you.
So,
I we'll
I
see.
mean, I don't know how
As
necessary.
Trump says, we'll see what happens, right?
So I don't know.
There's more
We'll take a look.
outlets for a
But
guy
now,
like you. than
now what
just-
I'm doing now is just like performing nightly and doing a lot of voiceover stuff and just content.
Now here's a question.
Yeah.
You're able to imitate Obama because Obama's.
I see where this is going.
Go ahead.
Okay,
His
no, I
voice
don't,
is-
Answer it.
let's see what you got. Come on now. Come on now.
because his
How are
voice
you?
is not stereotypically
Yeah.
Let's
black.
see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not a good time to be imitating, doing impressions of people of color, is it?
What my thinking is, first of all, it depends on the context. Like if you're going to be paid as a voiceover actor, you shouldn't do that as like a white guy doing some other role, as we've seen what's happened throughout the past few years, in my opinion. But I think if you're doing it like in a comedy act, if it's vocally accurate, I think it's fine. If I sound exactly like Obama or something, I'm not like saying to take it to another level of like.
Daryl used to do the Al
He used to do Al
Sharpton.
Sharpton.
Great.
He
And
did
he-
it on stage. It was hysterical.
And he did.
Fantastic.
And he did Jesse Jackson, I believe.
I don't think he did that.
Yeah, but in those days it was funnier because a white guy
Yeah,
was
no, I
doing
mean,
it.
yeah, I mean.
Well, he still. Last time I saw him here, he did.
You're
He
talk-
might be grandfathered in.
You're talking about a guy who does a spot-on impression, though. Like it's
Yeah.
perfect, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I don't
In
know
that case, yeah.
It's fine until somebody decides that it's not.
Yeah, well, same with anything.
And there'll be no warning when they decide.
I
that
mean,
it's
if
not.
you're going to take it to another level and like add a costume, I would not suggest that. That would not be a good idea.
Now I've been watching the show on Apple TV, The Therapist Next Door.
Yeah.
Have you
I
watched
haven't seen it
Are
yet.
you Jewish?
I am, yeah.
And
Oh, good.
He does. I mean, he doesn't scream it.
Well, let's talk a little more.
I'm wondering if your mother was a convert.
No, and I'm a full Jew, man.
Okay. Okay.
so
get me.
now this show is pretty good.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is who is Jewish, plays the therapist.
Yeah.
But then Will Ferrell plays the other guy who's supposed to be Jewish.
Right.
And first of all, you wonder like what happened to all this this issue about you're not supposed to play something like and both of them, I blame the script. They throw in so many Jewish references into every scene. No Jewish people talk this way. Like Harry Enton, our friend, who's like the Jewiest guy I know, wouldn't have this many Jewish references in a conversation.
Like what?
Just like a meshuggah and just like things I don't even know. Just like every toast is Jewy, and it's not l'chaim Jewy,
Yeah.
but like it's just obviously they're just trying to throw Jewish reference. And I wouldn't say I was offended by it. I'm not offended by it, but it kind of irked me.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the fuck are they doing here? Like so, and I began to realize how these things bother other people. Again, I wasn't offended by it. I mostly thought this is just bad writing. Like this is just not well done. But in some way, whether you intellectually don't agree with it and think it's ridiculous, this whole cultural thing of not these people shouldn't be doing other people, it begins to seep in. Now you see this big goy, Will Ferrell, doing this big Jewish guy making all these Jewish references. I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, Bradley Cooper is playing what's his name? The fucking Leonard
Leonard Bernstein?
Leonard Bernstein.
Well, but
yeah.
he
Was
looks.
he Jewish?
I don't think he is. No.
No,
Brad-
Leonard Bernstein.
Cooper.
No,
Cooper.
the most.
Yeah, Bernstein. I would. That'd be a shock. You heard it here first, folks. On
most-
Sirius XM, Bernstein is not a Jew.
The most, I think, miscasting of a Jew is Rutger Hauer in Escape from Sobibor.
Actually, you're wrong. It's actually George Santos is probably the biggest miscasting as a Jew in history. Honestly, it's amazing.
I would give it to Rutger Hauer,
I'd give it to
who's
Santos.
the
but
most
that's up to you.
Gentile-looking man of all time.
You think so?
Rutger Hauer, yes. And second prize goes to James Spader in Ice House. Was the name of that movie? No, White.
How about Brosnahan, Mrs. Maisel? She's not a Jew.
Yeah,
But-
that's
but she can
incredible.
pe- but-
right?
But again,
I mean, that's unbelievable,
yeah,
isn't it?
she's incredible.
but she doesn't look
No, but I'm saying
that
she's not a Jew. Yeah.
ridiculous. It's not Rutger Hauer level Gentile.
Right.
It is quite
There's
shallow.
no Meshuggah every 5 seconds.
It's quite
Yeah.
shallow of the writers, who I think the writers are Jewish too.
Right.
To think that the essence of portraying a Jew
Yeah.
is in the word choice. It's not. It's much more subtle than
It's
that.
more, yeah.
It's more.
It's
in
part
the,
of it,
more
but
in
it's not the whole thing.
subtle manipulation of the media.
I mean, thank God, thank God that Jerry Seinfeld used lots of Yiddish phrases on Seinfeld, or America would have never known he was Jewy. You know, get my point. Like Seinfeld's
All right,
obviously,
so it's bad writing. Yes, we
he's
agree. on
obviously
that.
Jewish.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
There's no Jewish stuff coming out of his
Right.
mouth.
Right.
There's been a lot of blowback about that Jonah Hill's film that just.
I just
you-
saw a
I
video
just saw-
about that.
I saw you.
I just
You
saw it.
people. I
Yeah,
just
You
saw,
People.
I
Yeah.
watched it too.
What's the blowback?
That
It's the Netflix show called You People,
Yeah.
or as Archie Bunker said, "You people are you people."
Use people.
Anyway, go ahead, Periel.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Please
blowback.
take it. Yeah.
Is
What's
that-
the blowback?
Is that they're really relying on all of these Jewish tropes and black tropes, and it's like a sort of pandering to the lowest common denominator. I mean, pretty much exactly what you were saying.
Didn't he write the movie too?
Jonah wrote it with a black guy. I don't know who. I forgot the guy's
No,
name.
I'm kidding. Yeah, go ahead.
I had by accident with Judd Apatow was here, and I sat down with them, and he was here with a friend. I sat down with him, had lunch with him, and it was like 45 minutes before I realized it was Jonah Hill. just talking to this guy, like, you know.
When was this?
This is 5 years ago, before COVID. But he'd lost so much weight, and I hadn't realized he'd lost and dyed his hair, and I really, and then somehow it just occurred to me who
That
it
doesn't
was.
surprise me at all. Like, you didn't even know who Stephen Merchant was.
That's such a distinctive looking guy too,
Stephen, I
Yeah.
mean, forget even what he looks like, but I was
Anyway, what do you think of the blowback for You People?
I thought I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun, and I thought Eddie Murphy was just phenomenal. And I mean, it's like okay, like it's,
Sam J, isn't that right?
yeah,
Sam J has a very
Sam
big role.
She's a podcast. Podcast
Yeah,
host with
Sam was
She's
great.
Jonah Hill.
fantastic.
Andrew Schultz was in it. He had a small part. I thought it was great. I mean, it was like a movie. It's like
I watched it with a French audio track, so I didn't necessarily get the full. In other words, I don't know how they were speaking. So whether they were speaking in stereotypically Jewish and black ways, I didn't get that from the
wait
French.
a second. Wait. Why?
Because he likes to do that to test himself. Because he also likes to sprinkle into conversations to show off that he speaks French.
No, well,
Do you? Oh,
yes.
fuck.
Do I like to sprinkle it in, or do I speak French? I
Wow.
watch.
You know, there's a lot of blowback against comedians who speak French. It's like
I
the
wa-
new impressions.
I watch.
People are mad at comedians.
If
who
I'm
do
going to
that.
watch something and there's a French audio track available, I'm going to watch it with the French audio
So
track.
do you watch like Squid Game with the
I
French
watched
audio
the
track
whole
in addition to the?
Yes.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I watched.
Are you fucking kidding? Are you serious?
I'm serious. Yeah.
Do you watch porn in French?
Yeah.
No, that I do not watch in French. But that's an idea because there's some vocabulary. Well, but there's a vocabulary that I wouldn't necessarily get in
But they
other.
don't
That's
shave their
interesting.
legs.
Yeah. Oh
Yes,
boy.
that's
Hey
a
now.
stereotype that they.
Hey now.
The French hairy stereotype.
Okay, fascinating.
The French hairy stereotype dates from like the '60s. It's
It's
not
ridiculous.
true at all anymore.
Can I just say, by the way, this podcast so far has just been great. I mean, it has been vastly different than I expected.
What
and
did you
I'm
expect?
You know, this is just, I did not expect it to be talking about the shaved legs of French people and
we're just
and
getting
you people.
started.
Let's keep going.
Wait,
Actually, we're not just getting started. We're winding down.
Oh, okay.
However,
wait. I just want to say one thing because Dan has brought this up so
we
many
got 20.
times.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Dan was very disappointed to find out by a reputable source that my Hebrew.
Well, no, I don't know if it's a reputable source. It's a biased source. It's your husband.
Dan always tells me that there's no way I actually speak. He's like, maybe it's decent. Right? Is that
Well,
true?
how do you-
You're Hebrew?
Yeah.
Shalom,
It's probably
honey.
decent, but I think you're probably missing a lot of vocabulary
Yeah.
because you don't use it,
Oh, boy.
on that regular base. Like, all right, let me ask you this.
No, but I do.
Uh,
But no. But wait a second. But then we sat down with Guy, and he asked Guy, "How's her Hebrew?" And what did he say?
This
You
is,
said your reading was.
she's not authorized to
You said your-
change topics.
I
let
didn't
alone
change
bring up such a
topic.
boring topic as her Hebrew.
I
Oh
don't know
my
if it-
God!
This is
First of all,
great.
that's so rude, and I did not change topics. But fine, go
You sort of
right
did.
ahead.
Do you know how to say underwear in Hebrew?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Tach-
How do you say? How do you
tachtonim?
say?
Great word.
How do you say? How do you say? The brakes failed on my car, and I collided into the guardrail.
I don't know how to.
All
say
right, there you
guard
go.
now.
So I'm saying you're missing a lot of vocabulary.
There you go.
Your Hebrew is probably decent for getting around town,
No, it's
but
better.
if you had to do your act in Hebrew, for example, you might not.
Well, I
find...
did.
Say this. That's much too big for me. Get out of here, soldier.
What? No, I would never want to bore. God forbid, bore Noam. So
Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Your husband. When I hear you talking to him in Hebrew, you go back and forth between English and Hebrew. So I don't get the impression that you have all the vocabulary there.
Now, what about the anti-Semitic Jewish comedian we had on a couple weeks ago,
Yeah. Jonathan Randall.
Jonathan Randall? So, and by the way, I would still.
I'm not saying he's anti-Semitic, but he's very anti-Israel.
Yeah, I was purposely being provocative, but he sounded so reasonable here in the podcast discussing the Arab-Israeli conflict and all that.
just because he was talking to you,
And then he left, and he just went on a screed, just a fucking screed about this. There's no way he believes in any of the things he said to sound reasonable on the show. Would
Oh
you
my
agree with
God.
that? He is no fan of the Jews.
Well,
At
he's
least
no
the
fan.
Israelis.
He's no fan of Israel. I think he may well be a fan.
Well,
You should have
he
had him
knows-
on at the same time as me, honestly.
no, he did write something that was like particularly.
what do you expect from Israelis?
Or Israelis are known for
God.
being liars or something.
He said that?
The duplicity.
I'll quote it.
No, I mean you can, but I'm just. And what made me think of it was like, is it because he was intimidated because it's mean? He doesn't want to speak frankly, because he's afraid that.
Yeah, I already told you that.
Yeah, so that's not good.
Yeah, for sure, though. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
So
You hit the nail on the head.
He's-
Yeah.
So do you have
He
a
was
little-
100%
So
afraid.
so
yeah.
so fair enough.
No
Now-
question.
Now, what are your views on Israel?
So is your
Careful.
is your larger point here that nobody should be afraid to speak freely in front of you because you do not book comics on the basis of their political beliefs.
That's not my larger point, but that's what popped it into my head when he's talking about being intimidated.
Well, we're joking around.
My larger point.
Well, you do have a
is-
presence. It's a fact.
It bothered me. It bothered me that he would. I mean, he doesn't realize it bothered me more than if he had expressed his sincere beliefs about
his lying, kind of altering his views in front
Yeah,
of
I don't
you.
want to use the word lying, but
But
it's-
changing his view for you, yeah.
yeah.
But it might have not been changing his views for you. It might have just been that people don't like confrontation sometimes,
That's it.
and when they're in the presence of people with different views, they just don't want to get into it.
Hey, but you know who really doesn't like? You know who really loves his confrontation? Israelis. I'm kidding.
Jews.
That was
But I got some hint of it at the very end when he says, I believe in the two-state solution, he says, and I said,
oh my God.
and I said, well, okay. I said, would you tweet out that, as much as critical as I am about Israel, I'm still a Zionist?
Yeah.
And he says, no, I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't say I'm a Zionist. I'm like, why? And he acknowledges Zionist means the belief that the Jews should have a homeland in Israel. He says, yes, but, it's a controversial word, so I would never use it.
Did you make him elaborate on that?
Yeah, we did. But I kind of, you remember that? And I'm like, well, yeah, but just because it's controversial to them, you're going to tailor it. You know that they're not right. That's not what it means. And you're allowing that view to metastasize by then allowing it to jump to people who supposedly do support a two-state solution. Now you're afraid to say but he wouldn't say it. And that was a
Well, anyways, you can
clue.
see him taping his hour special for Netflix at the Comedy Cellar next week.
No, I don't care about that. Listen, as a good Jew,
smile, though, yeah.
what's my prime directive? Is for the Comedy Cellar to be a successful business.
Yeah.
I don't care about his personal views in terms of whether or not he goes on stage.
Now
I don't like.
speaks-
Maybe that's
And I
why,
enjoy
maybe,
having him
maybe,
around.
maybe he thought you did though. And that's why he was probably altering his views.
Because he's an anti-Semite.
well, on
Exactly.
on a related note to business,
Yeah.
you told me something, Noam, before the show regarding last week.
Can't control himself. Yeah.
Last week, Noam mentioned that the Comedy Cellar will likely be or may be expanding. Noam is looking at a property in the area to open up a new club in this area,
Oh wow.
but it wasn't 100%. Noam put a bid on a property, and we talked about this already. Why you shake?
I don't think we talked about that.
Yes, we did.
No,
yes, we
no,
did.
no.
Yes, we
Sorry,
absolutely.
let me just
Not
go on
that
TikTok
specifically.
live here.
we
Say it
did
again.
absolutely using the same
Sorry, one more
terminology.
time. Exactly how you said it before. Okay, 3.
We
And we'll pan over to him in a second. All right. Okay?
we used exactly the same terminology on a previous podcast. You
And I'm
can
here to announce
take.
it today. This is so exciting.
If you wish for me not to discuss it, we can
We can trim it out.
trim it out.
We didn't trim it up, but let's not discuss it.
All right, back to me. Let's go.
Well, we did discuss it. So, Nicole, back me up. Do you recall that?
I feel like we did.
Yeah, we did.
Not
Absolutely.
to stir the
Wow.
pot. but-
Absolutely.
Not to stir. It's too late, Nicole.
And you said,
Hot
Spot stirring.
and you said,
Pot.
I don't recall
spot-
exactly
spot
what you
purring.
said, but
Well,
you said it's a possibility. But
well, congratulations if it happens. I don't know. It's exciting.
I had another thought today.
okay, he doesn't want to talk.
Totally unrelated.
Because you can look at the tape. We did discuss it.
So you know how it's kind of said before that really smart people can kind of come up with arguments that somehow only a smart person would ever make such ridiculous arguments. Periel does this from time to time, or she repeats them anyway. But do you believe there's anything that there's actually any objective morality or ethics? Like, I feel like smart people have I'm talking about the smartest people have convinced themselves, have come up with all kinds of rationalizations that there is some objective morality in the world. The whole subject of ethics is somehow something that is objectively true. And I think that's just ridiculous. There's no objective morality in the world. There's like game theory, like this works better if you don't kill me, I don't kill you. That makes sense. But I think that we have a natural sense of guilt about things, also probably for good evolutionary reasons, and we just yearn to rationalize this guilt we feel when we do things quote unquote wrong. And this becomes philosophy. Plato, Socrates, like they come up with all this amazing rationale of why there is objective content.
Well, I think there is. First of all,
There's no objective ethics.
I think
the animal
I
kingdom?
think there is.
We're animals like the rest of them.
I think inflicting
No.
I think inflicting pain for no reason, you couldn't make any argument that was anything other than immoral.
What immoral? Who says?
If you're causing pain for no reason,
I'm saying you would
nobody benefits.
you
and
would
somebody
never-
suffers.
if you didn't have a conscience, you would never come up with that moral.
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
I'm saying like in the animal
And Matt is really flummoxed at why we're talking about
in
this.
the animal kingdom, they
That's
kill. I don't know if they kill for no reason. They don't know what the reason is, but they inflict pain on each other. They maim each other.
Well, because
they
they
eat each other.
Yeah, because they eat to survive.
well, sometimes they kill and
Are we saying
don't eat it.
Is the animal kingdom an analogy for comedians?
Yes, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it. Like,
So if comedians were animals, what animal would they be? Or would they all vary?
Hyenas.
Does it depend on the comedian? You think
Yeah,
they'd all be hyenas?
No, maybe, but they could maybe depends on the. I mean, you could do it either way, right?
Yeah.
It would be fun to assign. an
That would be
animal.
fun. That'd be a fun exercise, yeah.
are you saying I should eat you, Dan? That would be the moral thing to
okay.
do.
Oh boy.
I'm saying animals eat to survive, and they go by instinct. So there's
Yeah.
no moral issue
Wow.
there. But
What started me thinking about this was this
Yeah,
concept
try to
of,
relate it to
of
something.
vegans. Like, they think it's immoral to eat animals.
Some are just grossed out by it. Like really
well,
disgusted
it is
by the idea.
interesting. Are you
Well, it
reading
is-
my mind? Because there's this friend of mine that's been harassing me to watch the Game Changers.
It's okay. You can say it's the guy who hates Jews who was on the show last week. Yeah, yeah.
Who's a vegan, who's been harassing me to watch the Game Changers, which is a documentary about veganism, making the point that not only is being a vegan a more ethical choice, which I think it's hard to argue that, although maybe you could, but that it's also basically can make you stronger, healthier. It just has all kinds of health benefits, and of course, it's better for the environment. So anyway, I watched the documentary, and then I watched some other things debunking some of the things that were said in the Game Changers, or refuting some of the things that were said in the game. And then she starts yelling at me, "You're a brainwashed idiot," as vegans will often do, because many of them are basically lunatics.
Yeah.
Although I applaud their desire to spare animal suffering, they're also lunatics in many cases. But so anyway, it's just interesting that you're bringing up veganism when I just got harassed.
I love how we get from is there a basic form of ethics and morality
no
to
one brought up
vegans?
No one brought up veganism.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, well, it's interesting you brought up veganism, because just today I was in an argument with this person who doesn't want to speak to me anymore because I don't accept everything that was said in the Game Changers at face value.
Wait, so you watched it?
I watched the Game Changers.
Okay, and then you said you didn't agree?
I didn't agree or disagree because I'm not a nutritionist. So I went online and I looked up the Game Changers, and there were people refuting many of the things that were said. In other words, vegans will tell you that not only is being vegan ethical, but many of them will say it's the healthiest diet.
So
Okay,
Game
but-
Changers.
And many people say you can have a diet with meat in it that's just as healthy.
So Game Changers is to vegans what you people is to Jews, is what you're saying.
That's basically what I'm saying.
There you go. All right.
And
Everybody's
so what,
refuting what's happening
And
here.
this person won't talk
Threading
to
the
you
needle.
This
anymore?
person saying, "Talk to me when you," and she sent me more videos to watch.
Well,
my God.
I mean, it's like, really, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Wow.
so
I'm tempted to be a vegan. It kills me to see these animals. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying that feeling I have is not rational. It doesn't come from the. I didn't.
Which animals like do you feel the most bad for? Chicken or cow? Like what makes you more?
well, you'd have
upset?
to go with cow.
Yeah.
If those are your
I
choices.
love
pigs.
I love the Louis C.K. chicken bit when he hosted SNL. You know that one, like the racist chicken, and he goes, "Chicken, their murder rate is 1,000%." Or
Mexicans? Yeah.
Such a good bit. I never thought of chickens the same way again. Just the way he bobs his head it was so fucking funny.
Can you do Louis?
Again, I here's the comedians I do. I do Sebastian. I do Gaffigan. I can do a little right now. You want me to do a little?
Gaffigan?
Yeah, the Gaffigan's fun. I just do. The way to do Gaffigan is just to question everything around you with a childlike wonder, and then just sound like you've been out of breath for 10 minutes. Like, I mean, I don't even understand what we're doing here. Like, why do we eat guacamole with tortilla chips and not a spoon? Seems like a healthier choice.
Yeah, that's Gaffigan.
I just feel like why do cicadas come every 17 years? Feels a little weirdly spaced. I want a Hot Pocket. Okay, you're scaring me, but you're fun. I just feel like we're having fun here.
That's him. And Sebastian?
What's up, everybody? It's Sebastian Maniscalco. Happy to be here on the show. Different modes to the Sebastian. There's podcast Sebastian more deep, talking about things, having fun. Then there's the high pitch. What? I don't want to be here. Bored, taking a picture. What are we doing?
And then there's I like Sam Morril is like I'm working on Sam Morril is like yeah, my babysitter molested me when I was 5. I don't even know. You know what the worst job is? It's cop. I don't even know what the writing is around it. It's just fun to speak like in a very deep voice.
Yeah.
And then Norman, yeah, it's fun. I was doing before. Just hey, good to be here. What are we doing? Look at the Jews. And then I'm working on Anthony Jeselnik. Like, you know, I was dating this girl. She had a pet parakeet. Thing would never shut up. The bird was cool though.
Is that a real Jeselnik?
Yes, it is.
Anthony Jeselnik. So working on some of the comedian projects.
And your favorite one right now?
Well, do we want to? Okay.
You know, please, your show. My favorite one. Out of all of them, out of everyone I do.
Well, yeah, it's in your. You sent it to
I
me.
mean, we're all over the place, but Noam did bring up veganism, which is a rich topic.
And maybe I'm wrong about ethics.
I don't know whether he wants to pursue it or wants to not pursue it.
Ethics are interesting.
Well, what would Peter Singer say?
I don't know. I mean, he believes that you should create the maximum goodness.
Here's the only
utilitarian.
argument in favor of meat eating that I have heard that may or may not have validity is that these animals, most of them, would not exist if we did not eat them. Most cows are raised to be eaten.
But
If we did not eat these cows, they wouldn't exist at all. So we're giving them.
This is it's a pretty good argument.
We're giving them life, even though it's a short life, we're giving
And
them
didn't
life.
God
they wouldn't
intend for
otherwise.
humans to like eat
Well, look,
these?
If
Not
we're going to
like-
get into God, then
Whatever you
that's a
wanna
whole
say.
nother thing.
But not the way the meat industry is
Okay,
run.
but just assuming they're treated well.
But they're not.
Assuming they
That's
are,
interesting.
is it
But they're
ethical?
not. Go ahead, sir.
Is it ethical to kill a creature that wouldn't have existed otherwise?
Italians eat fucking cows.
I'm just going like Jesus Christ. Yeah,
I don't know, Dan.
I don't know.
I think that, like I said, a lot of this is it makes us feel bad, and we try to create a rationale, a weighty rationale why it's wrong, quote unquote wrong. But the fact is, it makes us feel bad, and sociopaths don't feel bad,
Guess where there will be the best meat products in all of New York?
Where's that?
At the Comedy Cellar when they expanded their additional locations. I'm kidding. We can cut it. Come on.
I did ask you, Noam, about getting
Okay.
beyond.
Did you guys know, by the way, that the cellar's expanding? Sorry, go ahead. Continue. let's just sprinkle it in to make the edit impossible. There we go. Cellar's expanding. Cellar's expanding. Bought properties. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
Continue. Yeah.
we can do it. It'd just be a much.
Do what? Oh, the Comedy Cellar expanding?
No,
Sorry.
in other words, we can cut it all out. It just make have to really be a wide cut.
Yeah, it would be a wide
And
cut.
not,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
It'd just be like Matt Friendcast, just like 1 minute
yeah,
of
exactly.
the episode.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
Will there be Beyond Burgers? I mentioned Beyond Burgers.
We got an email this week from somebody wants a vegan choices Beyond and Impossible.
Who sent the email?
You're
by the way?
kidding, right? You're fucking with me.
No, I'm not kidding.
Who sent this? Just like a random fan of the Comedy Cellar?
Yeah, we send out customer satisfaction emails.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody said we more vegan choices.
What conversation did you and I have last week?
I don't recall. So no.
Periel's a vegan and wants more vegan.
I'm
choice.
not a vegan.
Really? So I asked
He's a
the customer.
pescatarian. Let me ask you this: as a pescatarian.
Hold on. I asked the customer the same question I asked you. I said, but we don't have a meat-free grill.
Yeah, and what did they say?
And they said that's okay.
And what did you say to them?
Yeah.
And what did you say to them?
I said, well, it's okay for you, but I would still be worried about some customer freaking out because we didn't make it clear to them. And then I got to depend on the waitress to make sure that they told the customer, the perhaps drunk customer, we make this on a meat grill. I'm just worried about it because we're not dealing with reasonable people. We're dealing with vegans.
Can you bring this customer onto this podcast?
Because when I said that, I was like, it doesn't matter. You can just make a little asterisk on the menu, and you're like, you don't know anything.
Oh, my God.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Wow.
Periel, you're a pescatarian. You
I am.
only eat fish.
That's amazing.
Fish is the only animal product that you eat.
And shellfish.
Is it because you believe fish don't have a consciousness, that they don't feel pain? Is this an ethical decision?
It wasn't. It is an ethical decision.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Because she doesn't feel bad about the fish. That's all.
No, that's not true.
They're not alive.
It's
well,
not.
look, plants are
I mean,
alive.
do you
The
want me to
question is-
answer?
Yes, I do. I do. I don't know about no.
He doesn't.
Okay,
Oh,
go ahead.
I do.
Periel.
Go ahead.
And then I have a question for you. if I
It's
may.
not.
Pull. It's skeet target. Pull. Go ahead. Go ahead, Periel.
My biggest problem is really with the meat industry in America. It's not so much the eating of the animals, which I in and of itself don't love, but I think if there were a more ethical and less toxic and disgusting way that the animals were treated, I probably wouldn't have such strong feelings against.
But they
eating
raise
meat.
fish in the farms, right? One fish on top of
Okay,
another.
well, I'm not fucking perfect.
Let me ask you this, Periel.
Yeah.
If the only way to avoid a terrible migraine once a month was to eat meat, would you eat meat?
That's what my husband asks me about blowjobs.
All right.
Yes,
That's good.
I'm sure I would.
Okay. What about once a year? A terrible migraine that lays you up all day long.
Yeah, yes.
You would eat meat to avoid
all year to avoid the once a year.
Oh,
Would you eat meat all year to avoid one horrific
yes.
migraine?
Yes.
One for 24-hour period.
Yes.
Okay. So your
Very dedicated.
your commitment your commitment to sparing animal suffering is I would suggest quite limited.
Well, I would suggest that if you do read Peter Singer's philosophy, is that it's your responsibility as a human being to reduce suffering as much as you can.
As much as you can. Well, you can.
But then when his mother was sick, he
Wait
took
a
all the resources
second.
for his mother. Remember that?
Yes. Wait a second.
Hypocrite.
As long as it doesn't cause you to suffer more.
Yeah.
That's
what-
Singer's philosophy.
So you're saying 1 day a year of migraine is more
Wait, so-
suffering than all the animals that you've eaten.
Wait, you're saying eat meat once a year to avoid?
No, I'm saying you eat meat. You eat meat all year,
Oh, like no, I wouldn't.
and you, okay.
No, I wouldn't. I thought you meant would I eat meat once to
Oh.
avoid one
no, I didn't mean
terrible.
that.
Yeah, no, I
Oh.
wouldn't do that.
Now, what do you think's worse, people who eat meat or impressionists? If you had, if you had to pick,
Well, how about
one.
an impression? Here's my
An
impression
impressionist who eats
of
meat.
here's my impression of Pacino eating meat. Medium well.
And that's I would cut that one from the act. Anyways,
Barrett.
You know what?
Letty-
Your choice was medium well was the wrong one.
What was I said?
It had to be like really raw.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
or very well.
what are you
done.
gonna do?
Medium well is in the middle. It's like it doesn't match the.
Yeah,
I
medium.
take
well.
a flamethrower to this
Yeah,
party.
I want it well done. Take a flamethrower.
This cow has got a great ass.
Barrett Letty.
Much better, Dan.
Yeah, that
Barrett
was good.
Letty, you are somebody that's been watching the podcast for the past hour. What are your thoughts? You can come to the microphone, by the way, because we like
This is like asking Randall about Israel. Go ahead. What are your thoughts? Speak freely.
On Israel.
and you can do it as Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Well, I hate the Jews just as much as anyone else. I mean, fuck them. So I was fisting my wife the other day, and my son starts fingering my daughter's ass. What did you ask me?
Oh, I said, what are your thoughts on this show?
That's on the
Oh,
aristocrat.
it sucked. It's been great. It's been
Yeah,
excellent.
it's been
Yes.
Gilbert. It's been great to be with you.
Look,
Oh yeah.
Sorry, you're dead.
Me too. Yeah, hard to make money when you're dead.
Gilbert Gottfried. Everybody.
well, but you save a lot of money.
Back from the dead.
You save a lot of money, Gilbert. Well, that when you're dead.
Absolutely. Just ask Johnny Carson. You know.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything in the news?
Well, Tyree Nichols. I mean, that would be a very, very odd discussion to have after a Gilbert impression.
Well, I don't
but-
I don't like to talk about these subjects without having some
an
person of color at the table. So maybe if you wouldn't mind speaking, the black person.
This class should just be called "Try to Get Him Canceled." Brought to you by the Comedy Cellar
It's okay. You can,
and Sirius XM.
yeah. Just. I mean, don't lay it on too heavy. Just we'll cut it out and nobody will know.
The only way I'll do it, I could just be talking about the Comedy Cellar expanding in that voice the whole time.
You want to go in?
Did you guys know that the Comedy Cellar?
Oh, they brought a
is
heater
expanding?
now? Oh, thank you very much. We're finished, but it's good. But for Nicole, that's fantastic. Thank you so
Does
much.
this have to be on air, the heater?
Yeah, what a guy. Thank you so much. I didn't expect it now. Thank you so much. Please text Tony. Tell him to thank you. I can't tell him something.
Thank you.
I didn't mean it.
Where Matthew, are you doing stand up in the city?
Tony's amazing.
Currently, I'm at the Stand a lot.
We can cut that out too.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, look.
Hold on. What's it like at the Stand?
They put me up. It's great. You know,
Is the Stand, Noam, the club that
great.
you feel is your biggest competitor?
It's like that's that Daniel Day-Lewis.
it's my, weak
I was
impression
just
of
watching
it.
a Daniel Day-Lewis interview of, oh my God, just him talking about his process. He's a mind fucking guy. What if he ever did stand up? Wouldn't that be wild?
Go a little something like
Who's the best dramatic actor you think that's ever done comedy? Is there one like that comes to mind for you?
Done stand-up comedy.
That's on stand-up comedy, yeah.
I guess Robin Williams is.
Yeah, Robin Williams,
Really
yeah.
would have to be,
Jim
yeah.
Carrey, maybe? I mean,
Those are the
Robert
two.
Williams is better.
yeah. So you think he's
Both
the
comedy
best?
and acting.
Do you think he's the best? Like single-handedly?
It's the best that anybody's mentioned.
I mean, I guess Eddie Murphy.
I mean, he's probably stand-up comics go. I think he's
Bill Murray. Bill Murray didn't do
He
stand-up.
didn't do stand-up, but stand-up comics go.
Do you think?
I
Do you
so.
think that it's easier for do you think that dramatic actors are better at being comedic Or do you think that a comedic actor could be better at being like a dramatic?
Say it again.
Like, do you think it's more likely that a dramatic actor could be successful in comedies?
No.
Not stand up. Or do you think that a comedic actor could be better as a dramatic?
Much more likely.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah. And things are.
I'm trying to think of examples of comedic actors that have done
I think
well.
they're more versatile. Yeah.
Have done well. I'm sure there are. Nothing is leaping to
Bruce
mind.
Willis.
Anyways, where am I
Started out
getting
as a
up in the
comic
city?
actor.
No,
Bill
but I
Murray.
asked.
Let's just
I
list
asked-
all the places that are not the cellar.
Well,
So
I
the
asked
Stand-
Noam, is the Stand your competitor in your mind? Your biggest
I have a
competitor.
competition.
So when
I can't stand to see anyone else
boy.
succeed.
Yeah,
All right.
Is
Now
that-
we're all.
Can you do that scene from There Will Be Blood?
I need to do it. You're giving me homework. I'm going to do this.
So Daniel Day-Lewis says that he can't. He has a competition and he
yeah.
can't stand to see it. Well, this is interesting. So I have a little bit of that. I can't stand to see anyone else succeed, at least in the same industry. But is the Stand our main competitor? I don't know.
Well, because you said to me the other day, "Hey, look, these are the people that are working at the Stand. Should they be working here?" You didn't say, that you.
Well, the truth is that Caroline's is
closed.
out of
Claire's
business.
closed, yeah.
Gotham, inexplicably, doesn't even list their lineup,
They don't really.
which it just says the Gotham All Stars.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. And then I didn't check New York Comedy Club, which I think is actually, despite what I said about, not liking to see people do well, I think they're doing a good job over there. I think they have made a lot of progress in a short time, becoming a name club that's doing a good job. They're aggressive in marketing. They get good acts. I went there one night and I saw a good show, so I think they're pretty good.
I was just listening to Jon Stewart when we were talking about Stewart talking about his days.
Don't tell me talk about the Stand.
No, at the cellar. At the cellar. No. He was talking. Exactly. He was talking about how much he loves the Stand. No. He was talking about the cellar and just
Jon
his
Stewart.
early days getting up there. It was great. Did you hear any of it?
Are you going to do an impression of it?
No, I know. I'm just telling you. It was a great listen. Honestly, it was fantastic.
No, I haven't heard it, but I love John.
Yeah.
Um,
I would. Yeah.
That thing is a fire hazard, I fear.
You're up at the cellar, right?
No.
Oh.
No, she's not. No.
All right. All right. Okay.
So anyway,
I'm just doing a podcast.
we got to wrap it up. But so I think the Stand is. I think this is what I think about the Stand. I think the Stand does a better job than I do of knowing who the up and coming comics are. I think we don't do as well at that as we used to as we should. So I do take the Stand's lineup seriously. I don't think it's an amateurish job that they're doing. And if somebody's performing at the Stand, I want to take notice of it.
Have you discovered somebody other than Tyler Fisher? Is there somebody that was working the Stand and you discovered them and said, "Holy shit, this is what a find"?
No.
Well, then, so that kind of contradicts your previous statement that they're doing a better job.
No, because I don't know who's there. Listen, there's two ways to look at it. I can say to myself, you know what? There was one person working at the Stand who would have been killing at the cellar, and son of a gun, that person was introduced to me by a friend of a friend. It was Tyler Fisher. Or I could say to myself, if Tyler Fisher exists, it's likely there's other people out there that exist.
But have
That's
you looked at the Stand's lineup and then done the research to just?
Hey, and I'm on this podcast right now.
Yeah.
So you guys are starting to do that. That's good.
I have
Well,
a
first of all, no, it's
question
very
for you.
surprising for you to say that because there has been such flood, I guess would be the right word, inundation, infestation
Deluge. Infestation. Careful. Deluge.
of new comedians here. That no, I was kidding about infestation, but
Now we're investing.
look, from my point of view, it's a zero-sum game. There's X number of shows, and the more somebody else gets, the less I get. But
Really, Dan, I had no idea that didn't come through. But go ahead.
but the fact of the matter is, there is a ton of new comedians that work here. It seems like you are redoubling, retripling, if that's a word, your efforts to get more than ever before. There is just. I've been coming here a long time, and I've never seen this many new comics here at the Comedy Cellar. So it seems like you're really, really, really making an effort to find new people and to bring new people in. So it surprises me for you to say that the Stand's is doing a better job at that. Maybe they are, but it seems like you guys are really, really, really making an effort these days to.
I don't know the answer to all those things. All I know is there was this comedian, Tyler Fisher.
Well, you got one, yeah.
Yeah, and he's destroying He's killing in his spots in the cellar. And he was available 2 years ago. And I didn't know about him. And the only reason I found out about him was because, like I said, a friend says, you should really, and I didn't take it seriously. No, can I bring Tyler down to meet you? I'm like, all right. And I didn't want to say no because it's a friend. And I met him. He says, check out my tape. I say, oh, sure enough, he's funny. What the fuck?
But why didn't you take it seriously then? I mean, it sounds like
because because stupid me, I thought to myself, if this guy was great, wouldn't I have heard about it from somebody else besides this friend of mine who's not even in the comedy business?
Well,
I heard it from somebody who doesn't even exist in the comedy world. She just happened to know him because she's involved in politics, and he did some viral clip that was coincided with her, was harmonious with her political beliefs, that kind of thing. Like, it was a total coincidence. And I'm like, well, that's a wake-up call to me. That's all.
Well, okay, but that's one example. I still think the Comedy Cellar is probably doing a good job. I don't think there's too many people that you don't know about that are slipping through the cracks. But I don't know that for sure.
Well, hopefully I don't, folks. Right? China.
Now,
All right.
Matthew has a huge. How big is your TikTok following at this time?
I've across socials almost over 1 million followers.
How many on TikTok?
Almost 800,000.
800,000. Noam,
What's mine?
to what extent does this influence your decision to make Matt the face of the Comedy
Oh
Cellar?
boy.
To make the new logo of the Comedy Cellar, Matt Friend's face.
No, it doesn't influence my decision.
Yeah.
I mean, it influences my analysis only in the sense that if somebody got 1 million followers on TikTok or across social media, including TikTok, then there's a better likelihood that there might be really great. Like you at some point.
Well, no, I mean
you can't get 1 million followers unless you're pleasing them in some way. But it wouldn't if I saw you and you didn't do well.
Hey, you
Well,
wouldn't.
there's also an element of like I'm doing TikTok, but I'm also performing because there's a lot of TikTok people that say they're comedians, but they've never done stand-up before. It's a whole other thing, as you guys.
how many
very
on
well-
How many on Instagram?
Almost
200,000.
150,000.
Okay.
I would never put you on because I thought that your TikTok following would be good for
Yeah,
drawing
100%.
customers.
Absolutely.
Unless I thought you deserved.
Is your TikTok following filling rooms for you? Or
Yes, it's starting to. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
it is.
So at 800,000, it's starting to.
No, it is. Like I'm going to other cities now. Like I was at the Miami Improv headlining there. I'm going to
And can
Horror
you,
Comedy
can-
Club.
can
I'm
you-
going to. Sorry to mention all these other places,
No,
but
Noam doesn't.
I'm
Noam doesn't.
we'll
going,
bleep them out.
going
No,
to
Noam
I'm
doesn't.
headlining the Punchline Philly. I'm going to the Kennedy Center in March.
Wait, the Kennedy Center.
I'm doing a hour thing there. Yeah, it's for this entertainment series in March. So,
Now, when you put your name on the lineup in the stand, and we should probably wrap this up.
yeah, sorry, we're talking about all that. Thanks for having me, by the way, guys.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. When you put your name in the lineup in the stand, does that sell tickets for them?
I mean, I've been running through it. I've been doing multiple hour-long shows there, and I've been like selling those out in their room. And then I did like the New York Comedy Festival and sold that out. So when I think it does, because whenever I'm in the lineup there, I'm getting like lots of messages from people coming to see you.
How
tonight,
many
so.
women are sending you titty shots in,
A lot of people.
your
Well,
DM?
It's not just women, right, Dan? That's true. But
A lot of, by the way, your voice is finally here. I might just use it for like a fucking voiceover audition. Jesus Christ, you're like a fucking 1930s cartoon. However, I think it happened. A lot of women, a lot of titty shots. I don't know, like not really. I mean, no one's sending me fucking pictures of their tits.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that because you're a young,
I mean, I don't know.
good-looking guy, and if you got all those followers,
Now,
there
when you
would
do the
have to be
stand-
some titty shots in those DMs. I
Do
would think.
they let you keep
By the way, Comedy Cellar's expanding. Go ahead, sorry.
when you do the stand? You do like one of these headline shows. They let you keep the door.
When I was doing that, yeah, there was like there was like a split. Yeah, like a 70-30, I think.
Why no?
You
what-
take
the,
seven.
the wheels are turning. No, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, Neil? No, the wheels are turning.
No, just these. Nothing. The wheels aren't turning.
It was funny when I transferred to NYU. I went to Tufts for a year. I transferred to NYU in 2018.
I know him at the Tufts.
Oh, it's
Did
tough.
you?
Yeah,
That's right. Do you know Hank Azaria at all?
I know who he is. I don't know.
I don't know.
him
Are you the same? How old are you? Can I ask?
I was born. I was class of '84.
My dad was. You know a guy named Bill Friend?
No.
My dad was 80. I think my dad was like 83 or something. That's so weird. Anyways,
I had a very small group of friends at college. I didn't like Tufts at all.
I didn't like it either. I transferred. That's as I said. But when that is hilarious. Yeah, no, but I went to NYU.
I had a great time, but I didn't like Tufts. I had a great time. I
weird.
had a great group of friends. I'm still friends with them. I had
That's
fun there.
wild.
I went to school with Tracy Chapman. I knew her.
Did you?
Tracy Chapman.
The
Wait a
singer.
second.
She's got a fast car.
Can you imitate her?
Wait, isn't Tracy Chapman now married to Bruce?
Isn't Tracy Chapman gay?
No, that's something else.
Now you had a bad time at Tufts.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time at NYU, or was it
I
just
loved-
you
I-
all along?
No, I loved NYU, and I tried. No, I was brought it up because the first night the first time I got to NYU here, I tried to. I was waiting outside to try to get tickets at the Village Underground. They wouldn't let me in because I was like 19 or whatever. But then I remember Amy Schumer walked by and she was buying a sombrero, little store nearby.
Where did
and
you
I was
live
like,
at
"This is
Tufts?
great." I was in Miller, and then I was in
Mil-
Carmichael for a semester. and
I was
then
in
tried-
Miller Hall too. My first.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
nobody had a worse time at
408.
college than
It's
I
weird.
did, but I don't mean to.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
mean to one up you.
Okay. We gotta go.
Okay.
We gotta go.
Okay. Well, first of all,
Anyways,
Let's
Let's
give
just end with the Tufts fight song.
what is it?
I'm kidding.
let's give a reasonable closure to the podcast. And do
Yes.
things professionally.
We got to get a picture too. I want to.
We would like to
I
thank.
think that's the right use of the word closure.
Barrett, we might grab in a picture of us, by the way.
We would like to thank Matt Friend for coming. Hopefully, he'll be working here. I think he will be. How bad could he be?
We do it the other way.
His impressions are good. I'm sure he's decent. Let's face
Well,
it.
actually, people are saying I'm better than decent,
Look,
but you can say
look,
I
let's
have
face
a
it,
lot of confidence.
stand-up's not that hard
Excuse
anyway,
me.
so-
it's hard. I have a lot of confidence, and we destroy. That's what we do. We kill.
I'm not going up there to not make people fucking laugh. You know, like what
Matt
are you
will
gonna
be
do?
working here, if not probably this year, but if not in 2024.
I mean,
Well-
Trump is really a motherfucker, right? Like that.
Thank you for
You're
doing
the
that.
one who said you wanted to wrap the show
No,
up.
I'm just saying.
Now
Like
you're
that-
opening up a whole new
just wanna say,
topic.
that persona.
No, I know it's so weird.
It's so rich and huge.
No, I know, but you got to have a very specific take on it. That's what you have to do. Because you said earlier, it's so overdone. People try to do it. Baldwin does it, fails like a dog. And that's what you got to be very specific. And I'm like
overdone,
Yeah,
like
I do-
the way Pacino
Yes,
likes his.
I do different bits on the Trump
his
thing. like,
burger.
I do Trump. I did a bit.
I
of,
don't want to get back to the
Okay,
Trump. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that.
We're going to wrap this up. We're going to do it
Okay.
professionally.
You know this phrase that's overused, a force of nature. Like certain people who are just like defy.
He's
sui
defying.
generis, like Trump is just such a unique human. His
he's-
persona, his personality.
It's also just wild. Like
Hitler.
No, you're talking about morals and ethics earlier. It's like everyone, especially in the comedy world, like when they do something wrong, they're like blacklisted for a certain. Trump has never. He's always been able to go unscathed to anything. Like Billy Bush's career, like he got fucked, and then Trump just becomes. That blows my mind out of that whole thing.
And I think that way when I watch old Hitler movies. And I
Old
think,
Hitler.
When I
thought
say
you meant Hitler was a director. I was like, Hitler made movies.
no,
I
no,
was confused.
and
for
I
a
said,
second.
and I say to myself, I mean, maybe it's just because I don't live in that time that this was somehow. Oh, there's another little screaming guy with like maybe this was like a typical persona for that time, but it seems like
the screaming guy was a typical German.
I'm just saying,
He
like,
didn't-
like
he didn't
maybe,
always-
Everyone in Germany was screaming in the 40s. Just
or
He didn't always scream, of course. There is one recording of him on a train, which I was talking with Barrett about before the show, where he's actually talking like a normal human being. But like Gilbert Gottfried, he's mainly known for screaming.
But anyway, or this guy came up with this larger than life personality that you would think if he tried it out like Adolf, that's gonna, people are gonna think that's ridiculous. Like you think about
Adolf, don't cut back this. Adolf, just chill.
you can do what you want, but I advise against
I
it.
love the idea that he was like rehearsing this persona.
Well, he was.
No, but like the idea that that his friends that just Adolf like a little lower on the volume.
No, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
And
I'm going to
apparently-
be considered one of the great orators of all time.
This worked.
Apparently, he used to, in front of the mirror, he used to rehearse his gestures and his movements and studied that, you know.
It is interesting.
Do you think his friends called him Hitler or Adolf? Like, do you think they were on a first, like his close friends? Like,
I think they called him A.H.
Okay, on that note,
Barrett.
what was the guy's name of the guy who was anti-Israel again?
Randall.
They called him
John-
Randall,
Jonathan.
actually. Good night, everybody.
The amazing Jonathan.
Thank you, Matt Friend.
Thanks for having
who
me.
can be
Thanks.
found on TikTok. Add yourself. He's got 800,000 followers. Maybe you'll be 800,000.
Yeah, I'm also
in
on
one.
Truth Social and Parlor. You can find me there. The alt-right loves me. At the Mad Friend. There we go.
Thank you, Barrett
Hey,
Letty.
hey.
Barrett Letty for lending your voice. Robin Quivers and Gilbert Gottfried impressions
thanks.
were as good as I've heard.
Yo, do you do Tucker Carlson?
I do. I actually just did Tucker on Colbert. I did like a voiceover.
Shut
for
up.
them.
Obey.
I do. I did. Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Many people are saying that Joe Biden is a lizard. Yeah, it's a crazy laugh there. Yeah. Yeah, he's a frightening guy. I also do Chris Wallace, which is so niche.
All right, well, stay tuned for next
Okay,
time. Next
fine,
time,
yeah.
Matt.
Okay, sure.
Tune in next time,
Yeah,
Matt.
yeah. In 2028, when I'm finally allowed to perform in the cellar, I will
think
do
it'll
my
be. I
Chris
think it'll be
Wallace.
before.
Welcome
that.
back to Who's Talking with Chris Wallace. Sorry, go ahead. Finish the show.
Okay,
Let's end this.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I guess we'll just end it like that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.